So here we are today with Deborah Doncaster, who is the head of the Community Power Fund and is really a driving component in renewable energy and in the feed-in tariff program, which is being discussed today at First Canadian Place in Toronto. Deb, thanks for taking the time to chat with Going Green for Green today. Give us a little rundown. Tell us your history. Deb's also responsible for the big windmill on the waterfront, one of the first ones in Canada. So she's got a long history here, and she's going to sum it all up for us in a couple of minutes.
Okay, I'll do my best, Mike. Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem.
Well, I started my career in renewable energy about 12 years ago with the idea of building a community-owned windmill on the waterfront. And the energy market was about to deregulate in Ontario that would allow for new forms of ownership and new generation technologies to come in. So it was an opportunity for communities to do projects as well as do windmills and not just coal plants in Ontario. So the biggest challenge was who do we sell our power to? So we initiated a campaign for a feed-in tariff, which is the mechanism used in most European countries to drive renewable energy. So rather than competing for a contract, if you meet all the milestones of developing a project, anybody can get a contract and feed power into the grid and be paid a reasonable return on investment. So the key is you say, our grid is open for business. You provide priority access to the grid for renewable energy technologies, and you guarantee the right to connect. So the grid access issue is the first component, and then the second component is, and I will pay you on a 20-year contract, the cost to build your project plus a reasonable return on investment, and that's what I'll pay you for every kilowatt hour of electricity you put into the system. So it allows a homeowner to put up a solar panel, a farmer to put up a wind farm, or a private sector company or utility to put in a mega project, and they all are under the same rules and make the same return on investment. So we put our heads together and said, let's push for a Green Energy Act for Ontario that would deal with the grid issues, deal with the permitting issues, and deal with the procurement issues that weren't working under the current FIT program. What's the cost to put that project in the ground? And what's a reasonable return on investment? And so you set the tariffs, generally speaking, for, let's say, for example, for wind, you'd have an onshore wind category, and then you'd have an offshore wind category. For solar, you'd have a residential price would be different than, say, a large wind farm or a large solar farm, where there'd be an economy of scale for doing a bigger project. So each project gets a different tariff depending on size and capital costs.
Well, I'm in Canada because Ontario gets it. Ontario is making it happen. It's the first political jurisdiction in North America that really has the intent to make this work. This is an idea that's been tremendously successful in Europe, and Ontario is bringing it here to North America, and I hope once Ontario does it, we Yankees will do it too.
So, and exactly, as a tariff expert, so is your role to sort of review the various technologies that are being employed in renewable energy and analyze the break-even analysis and develop the payback margin?
Well, that's part of it, but part of my role is to bring the idea, this European idea, to Canada and to the United States to show that this is the way to develop the massive amounts of renewable energy that we need. And not only that, it's the best way to allow everybody to participate, from homeowner to farmer to First Nations to corporations, to develop the wind energy, the solar energy that we need, not only in Canada but in the United States.
So this would be really supporting decentralized power and multi-providers of energy across the board, and not just single point of production, but literally power coming from all over.
Well, feed-in tariff can do both, actually, but the beauty of the feed-in tariff is it does allow distributed generation by encouraging homeowners and farmers and all others to participate by building their own wind and solar power plants. So yes, it can do both, whereas other systems only can do it one way, and that's the traditional central station model. But the future of the electricity supply system in North America is to expand the role of distributed generation, decentralized generation.
The reality is Ontario is looking to build out capacity, generation capacity that is for renewable energy supply, and the associated transmission and distribution lines to help connect the electricity produced to the people that have to use the electricity. So we've got about 300 different developers in the room, online, participating in the consultation, collectively developing this new procurement program.
Hi, I'm Mayor David Miller. You're watching Going Green for Green.
Another plastic bag is full.
This program is brought to you in part by RBC.